Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome all those of you who are joining us today for the first time, and welcome back those who have attended previous events. My name is Jonathan Hardy. I'm Professor of Communications at London College of Communications, part of the University Arts London. Today's event is a talk and discussion with Dr. Maria Rodriguez-Rabadan on branded content, entertainment, creative practices. This is part of a series of events organized by the Branded Content Research Hub. So next slide, please. Thank you. So just a reminder, we began this series with the talk by me on my book, Branded Content, The Fateful Merging of Media and Marketing, followed by a talk by Dr. Susie Camis on her book, Branding Diversity. We had a roundtable event on influencer marketing best practice in March. In April, Andrew Cantor, the global CEO of the Branded Content Marketing Association, spoke, and Maria is our final and most welcome speaker for this particular series. So these have been organized, as I say, by the Branded Content Research Hub, and we see ourselves as a point of exchange and contact for a wide range of academic, industry, and civil society interests in branded content. And one of our aims and argument for existence is to connect activities that can often be too discrete, connecting research, dialogue and action beyond universities, aka knowledge exchange, education, student support, and professional training. And we're also a point of intersection for debates, debates that include how to do branded content better, but also debates about the role of brands in contemporary communications and the problems and concerns attached to that role. And so our aim overall is to open up inquiry and dialogue across the full range of issues and concerns. And one example of that is an event coming up on the afternoon of Wednesday, the 25th of May, for organisations and stakeholders interested in responding to a current UK government consultation on digital advertising regulation. So if you're interested in that, particularly if you're thinking of making a submission to the UK government on this, please do get in touch. I'll just give a few brief announcements too before I introduce Maria. Firstly, we'll be posting videos of all this series of talks. Once they've been captioned, they should be available from early summer. So please do join our mailing list, the Branded Content Research Network, because we'd particularly like these resources to be available to those of you who may be planning courses and to students individually. And we will be running a further program of talks from the autumn. So we'll announce that through the network and be interested to hear of anyone with suggestions and ideas for that series. That would be most welcome. And hopefully by the autumn, we'll have a much more fully functioning website to support the hub, and in particular, not just post announcements and information, but resources, of which we've collected a great deal, but don't currently have a mechanism to distribute those to those of you who are interested as researchers and students. And one reason we'll have that website in place is, as I mentioned at the last meeting, because we've been successful in winning an award for a 3-year international research project that will start in September on branded content governance. And that's a project supported jointly by 2 UK research councils, the Economic and Social Research Council and the Arts and Humanities Research Council. So do please email me. I'm sorry, it's a slightly roundabout way to do it, to be put on the mailing list, and we'll keep you informed about all of that. Okay, that's enough from me. So it really is my pleasure to introduce the speaker for today's event, Dr. Maria Rodriguez-Rabadan. Maria is the academic director of the Master's Programme in Transmedia Communication at UNIR, the International University of La Rioja, a leading online university for Spanish-speaking students. She also teaches branded content at the International Business School, ESCP. She earned a PhD from Carlos III University in Madrid in 2019 in communication and media research studies, specializing in branded entertainment. She combines, as well as being an academic, a research and industry-based career with professional expertise in creative branded content filmmaking and production at RB Brand Films, a creative branded content agency based in Spain. Previously, she studied film, TV, and new media at the University of California, Los Angeles, and served as CEO of Hero Pictures, a film development fund based in Hollywood. And she's worked in the entertainment industry for more than 15 years, mainly in the United States and Spain. I'd like to just add, before I introduce her, that I had the pleasure of being the external examiner for Maria's PhD, which is how we met at Carlos III University. In the UK, a PhD viva is usually a small event involving a chair, external examiners, the student, and supervisors, the latter having non-speaking roles through the event. But in Spain, and I've only experienced this twice, it's a quite different affair. Family and friends come to support the student. And so there were about 20 people, Maria will know, present when she presented her PhD in front of examiners. It was a truly memorable event, and you'll get a flavor of that today as Maria talks about branded entertainment creative practices, including her PhD research. So just before I hand over, the plan is Maria will speak and then we'll open up for questions and debate. So please, while Maria's speaking, if a question comes to you, please add it to the Q&A function, and then we'll go through that and pick those up after Maria has spoken. So Maria, you're most welcome. Delighted you could do this talk for us. Over to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this panel. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, and a great opportunity to share one of my passions, that is storytelling, branded content, and creativity. Especially today, I would like to share with you my research about branded content, and specifically about two experiments that I performed when I studied my research, my PhD. So now you can okay. So thank you very much for inviting me to the Branded Content Research Hub, and I would love to keep connected to this great network of researchers and practitioners. And I have this slide of Hollywood because I used to work there at these hills. Actually, my office was there right behind the Hollywood sign. And it started to be more and more common to receive interest from brands. And as a content developer, as a creative executive, you're always looking for investors and looking for the interest of the audience, and trying to find the next big mainstream movie that will make it in the industry. And at the same time, brands started to be attracted to the entertainment industry because they realized that content was a new key to open doors, because the audience was very interested into authentic storytelling. And that's how branded content started to be more and more present into production companies, and we have seen that this has evolved for so I have this mix, as half of me is a practitioner and half of me is academic. So as that, I try to combine both worlds into my research, and these are my upcoming publications in case you are interested. The first one will come up at the end of this month on May with the publication from EG Global. It's about the measurement systems for branded content effectiveness, because there's a controversy there. Nobody knows what's the best measurement system. So this is a study where I taking account all the different varieties of measurement systems that are available right now. And the second publications is coming out from Taylor and Francis in London. And this is a monographic about all the creative advertising practices. And this panel is a summary of that book as well. And that will come out at the end of the year. So for me, it would be great to get your feedback for the Q&A. I will share the main findings of my research, of course, but that's just the beginning. The interesting part is to learn from you, to see what you think about the topics that we're gonna debate and study some of the best practices, specifically one that I think that is very engaging and you will have fun. I hope so. And it's from Sreyadam brand beer. So for this first half of the presentation, I will present the main research, the general overview of the scenario, the big picture of branded content as I see it right now. Where we're coming from, the starting point, the goals of the research, the methodology that I use. There's a quantitative experiment and it's a qualitative experiment as well. Then I take in account all the results to offer some conclusions and share with you some new lines of research in case you are studying your doctorate program, your PhD, your any publication. This might be lines of your interest to follow. So what's the general overview? 15 years ago, nobody knew about branded content. I mean, it's true that the Furrow, this editorial magazine from John Deere's, was there at the end of the 19th century, but and Popeye and some other filmlets from the early 30s and the 20th century. But the blossoming of the branded content practice was brought by BMW with the short film series of The Hire, with several acclaimed film directors from Hollywood and with Clive Owen as the main actor. This campaign was very successful and BMW had to create a production company in-house. But they are in the business of selling cars, not in the business of making entertainment. So they just shut down the company, the production company, when the job was done. In 2003, we see the branded content marketing associations rising. Then in 2012, the Cannes Lions, these are one of the best prestigious advertising awards. They include the branded content awards category, but it's very curious because in 2015, the awards for the best branded entertainment was not given to any brand because the market, the industry was not ready, and the campaigns that were submitted were not good enough. They were more into the line of product placement, but not branded content. It has changed a lot, and that never happened again. The industry matured very much, and now we see that we have offices from the branded marketing associations across Europe. In Spain, they landed in 2015. And since 2015, we see lots of advertising campaigns. In London, we have the Drum Awards content. We have the Brand Film Awards. And I bring Sreyadam and Santander as campaigns that have crossed countries, and they are international, as we're going to see in a few minutes. At the bottom of this slide, you can see some of the main publications, authors in the last 15 years as well. And you can see that the evolution goes along with the maturity of this practice, with more and more research coming out. I include Hardy a couple of times because he has been very active, and I thank you for that, Jonathan, because you have put together a great network for the sake of branded content. And just as my research, I mean, I couldn't take in account all the countries in the world. I don't speak Hindu or Chinese, but I took my main sources from the English-speaking countries, especially North America, the UK, France, Italy, and Australia. So these are the countries that I take in consideration for this research. So when studying branded content, where does it belong to? It's a hybrid technique. It's a hybrid new technique that brings things from the advertising field, from the product placement, audiovisual communication, and researchers need to take in account narrative and audiovisual screenplay practices as well. So I try to took all this science as a cocktail to compare all the academic literature and try to make sense of this new practice. So the goal of this research is to analyze the case study of Strayadam. It has been very successful throughout the years, not just 1 year. I took this brand on purpose because it has been releasing branded content summer after summer since 2009 for more than 12 years consistently as a ritual. And they have won lots of awards and one of the best brand trajectories, especially in Spain, but also internationally, because they sell this beer in the UK as well. And also, this research tries to take a holistic view of branded entertainment, trying to come out with a definition, comparing it with the traditional screenwriting techniques, find out what are the main creative strategies to consider, and the main differences with other techniques as product placement. So speaking about Strayadam, why Strayadam? Here's some of the posters of the films that they release every summer. They hire great celebrities, like a Hollywood studio. You see Dakota Johnson, you see John Reno, so you see Peter Dinklage. So there are big stars, and even though they are considered as short films, they're also advertising. So it's this hybrid scenario where a brand is acting as an entertainment studio, trying to compete with other entertainment options that are available, either at streaming platforms, at the cinemas. So they have to provide great quality and have great screenwriters, directors, and actors. As you see, all of the posters give you the same feeling. It's about the summer, about love, about the Mediterranean lifestyle. And it's because this brand, Strayadam, has been conquering year after year this brand territory of the hashtag Mediterraneamente, like living as a Mediterranean, selling worldwide the Mediterranean lifestyle and creating a community of people that embrace this feeling of belonging to the Mediterranean. So there are other beers, of course, but none of them own the Mediterranean Sea as Estrella Damm. You see that these are some of the awards that this beer has achieved. The National Grand Prize for Creativity, Brand Advertising Lifetime Achievement. That's outstanding. A bronze for effectiveness in commercial communication. That's for the little things, one of the campaigns that we will analyze today. And here there's the trailer of one of the films. So we're gonna analyze 2 short films. And the first one, Vale, even though the short film was released in the UK, it's not subtitled, but this one, it is, so enjoy it. And pay attention to one thing. We will discuss it later. I am very interested in hearing from you, and you can tell me later if you feel that the brand presence feels intrusive, is not necessary. That's one question. Another question, I will remind you these questions later on, but the second question is, if you can replace the beer for another one, for Coronita, for example, or for Carlsberg, I don't know, for Budweiser, okay? So just pay attention.
Siéntese, no me gusta comer solo.
¿Con usted?
¿No me ha oído?
If you were unexpectedly trapped for 4 days somewhere in the Mediterranean, what would you really want to do?
Laia, ¿a dónde vamos a comer?
¡Tenemos una reserva!
Estrella Damm presents Jean Reno and Laia Costa in a film by Maria Rodriguez. The Little Things.
Salud!
Full film coming June 2nd at estrellaDamm.com.
So that's okay.
Siéntese, no me gusta.
Okay, so that was for The Little Things. The other short film is Vale. It was directed by Alejandra Amenábar, and it was right when Dakota Johnson was very famous with her other films coming out.
Dear Jonathan, he's got something else.
Girlfriend lesbian. Johnny Cash. Reality Bites. Bob Dylan. Padrino. ¿Y tú cómo sabes eso? No lo sé.
You're gonna take me where I go, where I go. You're gonna take me for a ride, and I'll be by your side.
Great. Okay, so now let's see about the methodology, okay? How do we study this? For this study, I take into account the part that is very theoretical, considering all the academic literature from the last 15 years. That's as I pointed out in my previous slide. National, international sources, manuals, white reports, lots of professional sources, videographic content, among others. And for the empirical study, I ran this quantitative approach, considering these 2 short films and having a group of students watching the short films and giving them a questionnaire with lots of questions, with a Likert scale, and where I took all the questions and analyzed the answers using the Fisher exact test, that is a descriptive analysis that allows you to be very accurate, to analyze different hypotheses, as I will show you in a second. The second empirical study considers a qualitative approach with an interview to 5 screenwriting experts. And why Italy, you might wonder. I had this visit as as part of my research during my thesis. So I had an international stay in Italy, but it was very I think it had a purpose, because over there we have the Storytelling Observatory in Rome. There's a branded content observatory at the city of Pavia, and at the UNICAT, that's the university where I stayed, there is one great author. His name is Nelly, and he has written several books on branded content. Also, there's this screenwriting and film program that considers branded content as well. So they were very interested in branded content. And also in Milan, there are lots of luxury brands that invest in branded content because they have the resources, they are international, and they are very eager to build a long-term relationship. So that's appropriate for branded content. So one of the reasons of performing this quantitative study was to try to separate brand placement of storytelling. So if we perform a well done branded content, brand placement might not be that necessary. That was the approach. Okay, is product placement or brand placement interfering with the entertainment? Is it intrusive? Does it bother you when you're watching a branded content? So that's part of the reason of making this, because in the industry, not that much right now, but for the last 5 years, marketing directors were afraid of losing that control. Okay, I am investing in branded content, but I want to make sure that I get a return on investment. I don't want any other brand to appropriate my content. Okay, so I want to make sure that my brand will be there as a stamp on it, even though I create the content, but my product will be there. And it's interesting because in Vale, there were 39 brand placements. That means we saw 39 times on frames the beer on the screen. But a year later, in 2016, with Little Things, Estrella Damm had learned a lesson. They discovered that it was not that necessary, and they reduced the brand placement to 24 times. It wasn't necessary to see the beer all the time. The quantitative analysis takes these 2 short films, but if we take in account the third short film that was released a year later in 2017, the number of times that the beer was shown on the screen was even less, just came down to 17. So it just went down year after year as part of the maturity of the brand, getting more confident about the power of storytelling and entertainment. And this is part of the reason of this panel, the branded entertainment creative process. As brands mature, it's not that necessary to being attached to product placement, but just disconnect product placement. So these 2 groups of students from the bilingual bachelor program in communication at one of the public universities of Spain, University Carlos III of Madrid. They were international students. They didn't know that we were going to perform this experiment. They were given the chance to participate or not, and they watched the short film and they had to answer this test. So with all the answers, we just put them into the Fisher exact text. This is like this is a very specific test that gives you a lot of accuracy when the group is narrow, when the group is small. So for this specific sample group, this test was convenient because it took in account exact numbers, and we took all the answers from the Likert scale, and they were just I strongly disagree or I disagree. That was considered as one option, and then I strongly agree or I agree as the other option. So the Fisher test didn't lie. And the hypotheses were these ones: understanding the values of the story regardless of more or fewer repetitions of brand placement, and it was accepted. So I can understand the story, the values of Strayadam, and it's not necessary to see the bottle of the beer. No, it's and also maybe we can have this chat later. If you consider that the audience has matured, if now consumers are able to identify branded content, not just entertainment for the sake of entertainment, but they know that there's a brand producing it and they understand the rules of it. So that's a question for you if you want to answer me later. Then the second hypothesis is the more brand placement, the less intention to buy. And that was rejected, not necessarily. I mean, if it's well connected with the story, if I see the brand interacting with the characters or the for this specific case study for the Strayadam, we see Strayadam, they are cheering, they are drinking. That's not that is not bothering me that much to just decrease my intention to go to the supermarket and buy the product. And then the third, the more branded placement, the greater rejection of the brand. The Fisher test rejected this hypothesis, this affirmation. So no, if it connects with the story, if it's okay, I might not feel contrary to this. And then brand placement doesn't affect entertainment. That was accepted. So that's very interesting because we see that brands are lowering the number of impacts of the product, the logo, the can, the specific object that they sell. They are reducing it, but at the same time, we see that if the story works, entertainment is stronger than brand placement. So that's very interesting as well. That gives hope to great storytellers to empower compelling storytelling more than the traditional, the conventional advertising techniques, where we see that sometimes are a little bit intrusive. The second thing that we wanted to analyze with the quantitative study was to analyze the level of entertainment and how does it affect to the purchase intention. we can't forget that brands are the ones that are investing and taking the risk, and they have to go to the CEO at the end of the year and defend their strategies and know that it was worth it. And one of the things is to make sure that it will have an impact on sales at the end of the day, no matter if it's medium and long term, but we need to see that at the end of the day. So this test, I had that in account. So the questions about entertainment included things like this: circle the feeling that describe your mood. So the students had to circle if they felt happy or delighted, enthusiastic, whatever. And most all of them chose joy, chose happiness, chose enthusiasm. So the two short films gave the same vibe. And it's part of this strategy of Stray Adam to conquer this brand territory of Mediterranean lifestyle, friendship, summer, gastronomy, sea. Other questions were, what's the main theme of the short film? Could you describe to me what's the message the beer is trying to convey? And they were very aligned. The answers were very aligned with the briefing, the positioning statement of Stray Adam. The message the brand wanted to convey was the same message that the audience got. And these are the questions about entertainment that were included in this questionnaire. I like the short film, it's believable, it brought me something new, it inspired me, I felt that I lived the experience of the characters. And if you're a screenwriter and you work as a professional in the entertainment industry, you need script editing, you need to have deep conversations with the screenwriters to know more about the characters, about what you want to tell the world with this story, what's the theme. It needs to be authentic. You need to connect with the protagonist to be on the same journey. So even though it's a brand, the screenwriting needs to be professional, needs to be at the top level. So here the hypothesis, the more entertainment, the greater understanding of the values of the short film, of the story, was rejected. And that's the truth of the Fisher test that I thought it was going to be different, but the Fisher test taught me something. And no matter that your entertainment is at the top level, you know, the audience might understand the values of the story, no matter if it's great entertainment or less entertainment. So that gives hope to brands as well, because if you want to deliver a message connected to a value that you want to embrace, for instance, Johnson & Johnson has released this documentary named 5B about the great job that nurses did to help people with AIDS in San Francisco. So the values of Johnson & Johnson are to be compassionate, to be connected to the suffering of society. So all of that, no matter if the entertainment is better or worse, the audience will get that. And that's the power and the strength of the values as well. And the second thing is the more entertainment, the greater the intention to buy. And that was accepted. It's true that the 66 students that watched these two short films in separate groups, they felt like next time they would go out to a restaurant, to a bar, to a disco, maybe they would ask for a Stray Adam. So That's the choice that they would take. And so that means that the entertainment left them this good feeling about the brand and the interest into acquiring the product and the intention to buy. So I highlight this. The brand placement and the brand entertainment doesn't bother. It's not that intrusive. I'm curious about what you think. Maybe you think differently and we can have this debate. And it's realistic. We see that as well. And it doesn't seem intrusive. The group felt that Vale was more realistic than the little things. And this is very interesting. If I change the brand, I change the story. In Vale, a lot of people, 24 people, felt that they could change the brand. They could replace it with Coronita, right? But in the little things, it changed dramatically. The brand is considered as the essence of the story. That means that the brand has matured. They had lowered the number of times they included the brand placement, the beer on the screen. And at the same time, the inclusion of these moments where we see this impact of the brand, it makes more sense, and you cannot replace it with other brand. And the little things wouldn't make sense for other, for Budweiser or for other company. That is more authentic because branded content is it's coming out from the brand. The brand has some specific values, specific goals, and they release this storytelling within the company, from within the company. So we just wrap it up saying that positive attitude, and they understand the values. The viewers were pleased with the story. They felt empathy for the characters. They felt inspired, a high level of entertainment, and they felt like having a straight arm after the screening. So this experiment proves that making a short film was worth it for the brand beer. And now I have this second section of the study. Okay, now we know that entertainment is worth it, that it has positive effects on the consumer. But how do I create compelling storytelling? That's the second question. Now, who do I hire? No, we could have this same problem. You know, this guy here is trying to write a story, and he has just wrapped different sheets of paper, and now he doesn't know where to start, right? So we can feel this dramatic moment as creators. But for this, I took in account all the academic literature and also identify concepts, characteristics, and good reference practices in the writing of branded content and branded entertainment. And for that, I had this qualitative test taking place in Italy. So I had these people with an instructor interview based on 10 questions. Again, I created a questionnaire asking them questions about what are the important things to consider when writing branded entertainment. As you see from left to right, Ugo Parodi is a young entrepreneur from Italy. He is the CEO of Mosaicon. He's a bank of videos of branded content. So it's like the Getty images for branded content. Mara Perbellini is an acclaimed screenwriter. She also teaches screenwriting at the Unicat University in Italy. Armando Fumagalli is a PhD in film studies. He has studied Pixar in depth, and he's running the communication department at the University of Unicat. Ilenia is another screenwriter. She has written lots of TV shows, screenplays for different production companies in Italy. And Joseph Sasson, he's an author of branded content. He had released a book with the with this coffee coming from Italy, EG, and he's part of the board member of the Observatory of Branded Content in Rome. So they answered my questions, and then there were an interpretation of the concepts based on the analysis of these answers, using the codes and different categories to analyze the theoretical abstraction of the structured interview. And the interpretation of these answers was based on the inductive process and the interpretation of data coming from the results of the interviewers and collation of other academic sources of information. So these were the questions. 3 must-have elements of a branded content story. How do I achieve an engagement? How do you think the brand participates in the story? Is it accessory? Should it be a character? How do I start? Where do I integrate the brand in a branded content story? Who should be involved in a branded entertainment film, right? Who are the different agents? How do I build a team? This is getting more and more sophisticated nowadays, actually. What kind of information should the writer have? Okay, if you hire a screenwriter, how does he start? What's the brief? You know, what type of information? And then, do you think the viewer assimilates the brand as the axis of the story? What's the perception of the audience? So some of the conclusions were these ones, like regarding to how is the brand integrated into a branded entertainment narrative. This was the finding. The inclusion of the brand in the narrative respects the expressive resources of the script. This means that you don't have to change anything. If you are a screenwriter, keep being a great screenwriter. We don't want to change you, but we will inspire you at first to be able to understand the essence of my brand, and from there you can create a narrative. So brands should go to the beginning, right? The birth of the story comes from the brand. That's the paradigm of branded content when creating a branded entertainment fiction. And I want to play a little clip. So if you're sleeping, you can wake up, and you can tell me if you think. Just save this answer for later, but answer me later, please. If you think that the brand is well integrated here in this clip, okay? We see that Jean Reno is a great actor, and because the shooting doesn't go well, he needs to wait for some material to come to the island, and he's there stuck in the island with this travel agent that helps him to have fun during his stay. But he's a little bit unpleasant and very rude to her. Okay, so let's watch it.
¿Y el guión? ¿No ha tenido tiempo de leerlo?
Sí,
¿Ah, sí? ¡Qué bien! ¿Qué le ha parecido?
sí, he tenido tiempo de leerlo, pero no lo he leído. ¿A dónde vamos a comer?
¡Tenemos una reserva!
Light spreading out like fire. Say we do it all again. Trying ways to make it higher. Always with a smile upon my face.
Okay, so this is my country and I love Spain. You're very welcome to come and visit this country, but also Estrella Damm is trying to sell this lifestyle overseas to make it engaging and fun. And this is not fake, this is how it really is, I can guarantee. But let's go to the other finding of the this experiment. So the values of the brand are the essence of the story. It's not an accessory element. As we saw in the previous clip, we see the Mediterranean. We have this shot from the sea, right? We are in the sea and we see the boat up there, like if we were fish, right? So now you can pay attention again to this second clip. I'm sorry because this is a spoiler if you want to watch it later. This is the ending, but I think it's worth it. You tell me if the brand is within the story, is well integrated. In this moment, the brand is part of the dialogue and it connects with the cinematography, but also with the values of the company. So here it's a little bit difficult to make it replaceable because it's part of the dialogue. It makes sense.
Bravo, 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 bravo. Estrella? Star. Do you want look here? Estrellas tonight conmigo?
Vale.
So yeah, in that film, he's trying to get the interest of Dakota Johnson, and he's not very good at speaking in English, and he tries a way to make it work, and it's cute. So finally, the screenwriting conclusions, we can see that the emotion that the films give off is very important to build links with the viewer. From the previous questionnaires, we saw that emotions are very important. If the story resonates with the audience, if we think this is worth spending our precious time, because now with branded content, we are entering into the leisure time of the audience, and that's sacred. If we are going to be part of that, we need to be amazing, and emotion helps to build this links. So this is not just from the test, this is my conclusions based on all the findings and comparing it to the practitioners and me as a branded content creative executive. This is what I try to, this is my canvas to work with clients. So how do I start building a branded entertainment? So first of all, we need this marketing strategy in place. First of all, the brand, the marketing departments, they need to define these elements. Give me the target audience. What do you want for the brand? What's the main marketing plan, communications plan? What are the other actions you're performing out there? So in case I can do a transmedia narrative, I will try to connect with whatever you have already in place. What are your values? What is the purpose of your brand? Actually, Estrella Damm shifted a little bit towards campaigns focused on saving the sea in a more sustainable approach. But it's okay, because the purpose of the Estrella Damm brand is to have this Mediterranean lifestyle. And it also includes taking care of our sea, of our nature, of our surroundings. So that is very well integrated. Benchmark, what's the competition doing? And what are the specifics of my product? Is it a lager beer? Is it light? Is it a light flavor? Is it, what's the specific, right, of the product? Then conceptualization. Now we go to this part where we start having conversations with creative people. For Estrella Damm, it was Oriol Villar, the main author of these campaigns, but if you are a practitioner, you might want to hire a screenwriter or a film director, and you can have these brainstorming sessions trying to come out with ideas. Tell me the origins of your company. Like Mercedes-Benz, they created this short film telling the story of the first woman traveling across the United States with the car. Powerful visuals, keywords. So you can have these moments, no? And then once you have conceptualized your idea, like for instance, Dove, they created this educational campaign trying to empower real beauty, right? So that's the main concept. And then we go to the third phase, that is writing the branded entertainment. So here, your brand's voice should be irreplaceable. Create a storyline with ups and downs, with rhythm, with structure, and with unique characters. And the main findings and conclusions, we see that branded entertainment is the specific expression of branded content into the field of entertainment. But it's not just fiction or short films like we have seen here today. It also includes other types of entertainment, like video games, like apps, like live events, like theater. So there are lots of things. And if we analyze the field of study of branded content, there was a little bit of confusion about what content marketing is, what branded content is. So over here, there is a little graph that makes organize everything, right? The content marketing is the discipline, is the theoretical approach. Branded content is the specific practice of delivering content to the audience, and it could be delivered as an informative or educational or entertainment. Actually, I would include a new one that is purpose-driven, because now purpose is becoming more and more important. And if just reviewing the theoretical findings and from the academic literature review, we see that branded entertainment is different from product placement and product integration from different points of view. The integration with the plot is extremely high with branded entertainment. The involvement in production is super high, right? The brand is the one that owns the material, it's the author, and they can release it in their own media platforms because they own it. So that's why you saw Stray Adam, a new release coming out at www.strayadam.com, because they can be the distribution line. It doesn't look for an immediate advertising impact. It prefers to build this medium and long-term relationship. For immediate advertising impact, there are other advertising techniques that are more efficient, actually. And for branded entertainment, so it has a commercial nature. It is because the brand is promoting this content because they have a commercial interest at the end of the day. The thing is that, and here's another question for you, do they do it with enough care to make the content relevant and at the same time being able to sell their products in a medium and long term? That's the quid, and that's very difficult because you have to make it compelling and be true. You need to be authentic, to have a voice in the world, and at the same time you want to sell your product. So that's tricky. So here we have this moment of Reese's, this candy from the movie E.T. So this is product placement, right? We could replace this candy with other types of sweets, right? It has, I mean, here Elliot, the kid, is trying to give signs to E.T. to find him, but it was not necessary to have this specific brand. We have improved product integration. Here in this film, Castaway, Tom Hanks survives from a plane crash, and he's alone in the island, but his only companion is FedEx packages, and through that he will find a way to survive. Also with Wilson, that's the ball that he imprints his hand, and he talks with the ball. So there's a participation in the story, but we see this completely implemented with branded entertainment. Like in this film, the Lego movie, Lego is very well known for selling toys, right? But here they make the experience and the joy and the imagination of playing with toys. They create this film where the toys come alive. You can watch it.
Good morning, apartment. Ready to start the day. Jumping jacks, hit them. 1, 2, 3. I am so pumped up. Yes, overpriced coffee.
That's $37.
Awesome. Everything is awesome. Oh my gosh, I love this song. It's cool when we're part of the team. Everything is awesome. No, guys, wait up.
Thousands of boxes of these toys. And here's this.
Sorry, Maria. Just
Yeah.
pause a second. We're getting very poor audio all of a sudden in the last sort of 2 or 3 minutes when you're speaking. Can you try again?
Okay, now
Yep, that's better.
better. Okay. So for just to wrapping up with my presentation, and now it's your moment for the Q&A. This is the Chevrolet animation filmnets. In 1936, Chevrolet decided to launch these animation short films where instead of having Cinderella going to the dance with you know, a pumpkin and the magic of the fairy, you know, she had a car, a Chevrolet. The same idea was again used from Audi, this company where they just created a new version of this fairy tale where the princess goes to the castle with an Audi. So it's the same idea, you know, almost a century later. So we see that it's not just the idea, but also it's just connecting with the values of a specific time, with the zeitgeist, the momentum, because in this new take from Audi, they are empowering women with this new gender idea. Women can drive an Audi. It's not just for men. But so we see that it's the same idea with a different take on it. So just for you, if you are interested in following any research line, here there are some ideas. Deepen the theoretical corpus, analyze more branded entertainment group practices, study the term engagement, that is very wide, search standard measurement systems, and you know, deepen on the effects that branded entertainment produces in the viewer. So here's some ideas for you if you want to pursue any of these lines. And now I'm very eager to start the conversation. Jonathan, I don't know if there are any, I can't just stop sharing it.
Great. Thank you very much indeed, Maria. Thank you very much for that talk. Excellent. Some people have heard you but have left, and I just want to pause to acknowledge that, because this is the end of a whole series of events, and some of the people who are here, and certainly some of the people who've heard you, have attended many of them. So I just want to identify one who is here listening to you, Jose Fernandez Cavia, who's the head of department at Pompeu Fabra University in Barcelona, has been a keen supporter for the network, and is also, gives me a chance to mention it, one of the international editorial board members of the book series I run for Routledge, Critical Advertising Studies. Gloria Dagnino, who's also involved in our work, Andrew Cantor, who spoke at the previous event. So quite a number of people have been here. What I've done, just to open this up to everyone else, I've given you, perhaps we should have done this for all events, who knows, but I've given you speaker rights. So we can wrap up with a little bit of a more discussion-based finish than we've had. And if anyone would like to speak, they can do so. Let's try and manage voices, but basically you can unmic, you could raise your hand to speak, and I'll try to keep an eye on that. So just a couple of things. I thought it was fascinating to hear about the brand placement changes between Valet and The Little Things. Just to say to other people who might not have seen Valet, I have to be honest, I was pretty shocked and critical myself when I first saw it, because there's a scene in particular where people are having a dinner together, and you actually showed a still of it when all the glasses converge and everyone is drinking the same drink. So I suppose I put back to you, Maria, the question, how many parties have you been to where everyone is drinking an identical drink? I'm not sure. And maybe if I can make one comment to kind of just link it back what you've said to, I guess, what I opened up with in talking about my book from admittedly a more critical perspective. And I've been a critical policy advocate against product placement. I'd say a couple of things. One of the arguments I make is different forms of branded content give rise to different kinds of problems. And that what you're talking about is branded entertainment films, brand content. And that does raise problems, I would argue, but it doesn't raise the same kinds of problems as integrated branded content. In other words, sponsored content in news, influencer marketing, parts of native advertising. So there are differences. I think the second thing, and I think it's a real quality of your work, I think most of us could agree that somewhere in the middle of this, there are a set of aesthetic, ethical, and operational judgments about when a brand fits and has permission to fit with content. And looking at all the research, both on production and screenwriters and users that you do is really, really important. I guess what I would say as critical scholar is beneath that, there are some structural problems and questions we might ask. And one of them is if only certain people have the power to pay for communication, that raises issues about who can and who doesn't pay to produce communications. And that's linked to the second problem you raised, which is about control. Historically, the people who paid advertisers for free-to-air television didn't control the content. And now they can and they do. And that's a new set of questions we could chart through, everything from television to the metaverses that are about to develop rapidly. So that's a quick comment, but I'm conscious of time. We've got about 50 minutes left. As I say, some people, it's gone 5:45 in Spain. So they have left us, but quite a number, including, as I say, some people who've been involved in this project. Bjorn Musen is here, Carl Jones, who's attended quite a number of events from the University of Westminster, and I guess, because I don't know everyone's name, some students too. So that's enough from me. Would anybody like to speak, to ask Maria a question, or if you wish, because we are tight for time, just make a brief comment on anything you've heard.
I don't know, Jonathan, would you like me to?
I would, Bjorn, I'd be delighted, yes.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. No, yes. Maria, thank you very much for this really interesting and refreshing presentation. And yeah, I could see, I wasn't involved in your project at all, but I could see that there are many different influences from filmmaking through the financing of films, and also the marketing angle. Yeah, I was wondering what's the next step for you, because you interviewed, I think, about 66 students, and the question is, to what extent can you generalize what you find out with 66 students? And then you interviewed 5 experts. So are you planning to extend your research? Or Jonathan just mentioned the metaverse, and there is so much going on in Hollywood and beyond in terms of developing new methods of branded content. But also another point, sorry that I'm extending, Jonathan mentioned something about the ownership and who can actually control branded content. And there are now also some new developments to put consumers more in control and owning and deciding what kind of brands and what kind of stories are featuring in movies. So I've given you quite a few questions, so feel free to answer any of them.
Great. So thank you for staying there for the whole presentation, and don't miss it. And thanks for your questions. What's my next step? I think I would like to be involved in the creation of like ethical best practices or more research about good case studies. So we help creating a more mature practice of this, because there are some people that are doing it great, but in other countries it's not that established. I ran the master program in transmedia communications at La Rioja University, and 50% of my students come from Latin America. We have almost 300 students a year, and 50% come from Latin America. And they are senior, they are more than 35 years old. So it's not that I have 18 years old students. So these are people that are already in the business, and this is new for them, and they know that they need to change the rules. So I think that I could be helpful spreading this new technique, right, and helping others to learn it and to use it well. Because the second question you mentioned is the control and ownership. So if you have the control, you can manipulate people, right? So on the other side, I think thanks to the digital technologies and to the prosumer's attitude that, you know, the audience wants to participate and wants to have a voice, it's more democratic. And brands have a voice as long as they create content that is relevant to the audience. And this is a catch-22, right? It's where do I start creating messages that the people will think are interesting for them, or I take in account what is important really, or I listen to society and understand the current concerns. We're there. There's no right answer, I think, and government policies are not quite yet there. There's not a specific law for branded content in Spain. It's a blurry arena. Right? You can create branded content, and it's not entertainment, it's not advertising. Right now, there's a long distance to.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. I hope that's an invitation, if I can put it this cheekily, to be involved in our branded content governance project, which, as you may know, but I'll just say briefly, is mapping how the rules are developing and evolving and how rules are made in this much looser way across North America, the UK, Europe, Australia, but with a deeper dive into the UK and Spain. So we have a Spanish team, but I hope your expertise would come in and assist. I'm conscious of time. Oh, by the way, just a brief mention, Bjorn, that was really helpful. And I guess one reference we could pick up is Black Mirror Bandersnatch in Netflix. So an interactive film, chock full of product placement, but building in that sort of versatility for a degree of audience control. And obviously an indication of a direction of travel for Netflix as it tries to become profitable in a space. But can I particularly invite, because there's very few of us left, but Nikane, and apologies if I've mispronounced that, and Oiku, again, apologies. I'd just be really grateful you've stayed the distance and come and listen to this. And it would be really appreciated if you wanted to make any kind of comment or ask Maria a question or just give any feedback on what you've heard, if you'd like to speak.
Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know if you can.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for this presentation. I know Maria because I I hear another time, no, another presentation of branding content.
Yes.
I'm not a specialist of branding content, but I love this area, and I would like to clap, no, the investigation of Maria's regarding of the brand, how the brand works, no, with the content, how these ethical practices is working, no, in the companies, and how important is the branding content in these latest days. So yeah, it's very helpful. I love this presentation. I love Maria's investigation, and yeah, this is my congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I think we'll take that as the last question, because it's kind of a question we've all been asking. But just before we do, I've just relay a message from Oiku, and again, I hope that's close to your name. I do apologize if not, who writes, thank you very much for this great presentation. I'm currently not able to unmute, but look forward to connect again. Well, please do, to you and Nikane, please do. In fact, Joanna, I don't know if you could just put the last slide up again, just to show our audience my email address, which is the gateway, unfortunately, to connect. Thank you so much. Great. Well, I'm really grateful to those. And I guess that question, Maria, is, you know, these were still experiments for brands. Estrella put quite a significant investment. It got Hollywood stars, European movie stars, and did really quite high quality storytelling, which has obviously worked on the audience. Where do you see that going? Is this being built on? Is this content getting more status within industry and amongst the public in Spain? What's your sense of how this is developing?
I think it's the next big thing. I think branded content is here to stay. It's getting more and more mature in Spain. The industry is investing double than the previous year. It's expected that this branded content technique will, I was reading it the other day at a magazine, it will invest worldwide 500 million euros worldwide, because it's the next alternative to intrusive advertising. That doesn't work anymore. And because we have this new way to connect with smartphones, tablets, augmented reality, holograms, it has new ideas, new possibilities, and storytelling and branded content is a great way to connect with the audience and be compelling. So for sure, lots of companies are starting their branded content department. I see it every year that my master program has more and more students, and companies come to us asking for internships. So I see it every day that it's growing.
Thank you so much. So I think if we took an average of European countries, we know that Spain is one of the more, if not amongst the very top advanced markets for branded content, whether that's in journalism and publication or in short films and so on. So it's a real privilege and pleasure for you to share insights from that. It is great, I must say, to see your own development as an academic and to see these books coming out from the PhD I had the pleasure of examining some years ago. So thank you so much for taking part today and widening our horizons and understanding of branded content, Maria.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for inviting me.
Great. So thank you for staying the course, everyone. Let's call it at that point, but do stay in touch. We're tremendously excited about the next phase of work. And we do, as I've said, want to make sure that that's of value and available to all of you. So Mikane and of course Bjorn, as well as Maria, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.